We do have this funny clip. Colin Wright, the classic lib, says Candace Owens is the paradigm case of a person who allowed herself to become so open-minded that her brain fell out.
All right, so I wanted to cover this because, to be fair, like, the right is, I don't know what these people call themselves. Candace Owens is doing this weird thing. I don't know what it is. But I also don't think that we need to rush and say that her brain fell out. The girl's running a business. She's not dumb. Her and Matt Walsh are having some spar right now over absolutely nothing, when the spar should be about something more serious. But I can't tell people how to use their platforms. I am more using this Tim Pool clip because he's explaining what's going on. The first 6 minutes of Tim Pool's clip is explaining how they found life on another planet and all this nonsense. And I am not, I'm not into that. I'm just not. Like, I'm Christian, so I don't think that there's life on another planet. Although I don't know the answers, but it's not going to be the government that tells me there is. We'll leave it there. But anyway, this is Candace Owens smashing Matt Walsh, obliterating Matt Walsh. Let's go ahead and get into it. And I probably always take that tone because, I mean, at least she tries, right? But let's go ahead and get into it. It's something different.
I mean, certainly you want to make arguments against Candace Owens on some political issues or whatever, but let me play the clip for you, which I think is pretty funny. And I also think he's taking her too seriously.
But here's my bone to pick with Matt Walsh. We have a long-running beef on the topic of NASA and moon landings because he thinks they happened. And listen, when the guys did it, it was fake and gay. I'm sorry, Matt, and it's time for you to admit it. It was just as bad. You just weren't alive for it, okay? Homies were on the moon making phone calls before the time of cell phones, like, hey, what's up, Prez?
Well, yeah, it's called a radio, but I don't know. I could continue.
Me on the moon with a flag, no issues. First time we've ever flown this thing. Yeah, I don't know. We just got through the belt pretty easily. And until Matt Walsh accepts that the mission in 69 was also fake and gay, I don't care. I can't defend you. Even if I fully agree with you about Gail King, I won't. I literally cannot defend you. Okay, you must come to terms with the fact that NASA and space missions have always been this fake and gay.
I mean, you know, my problem with people lately is that, and I might be in the wrong headspace for this video today. I just feel like everybody is just so fake and gay. You know, forget the NASA mission, right? It's like, listen to the cadence of the voice. Like, I don't even know what Tim Pool just laughed about because I don't think any of this is even funny. It's worth reporting on because of the fact that why are we trying to normalize this? You know, like, all it gives me is that Candace, you know, maybe it's frustrating for me because Candace went out with a bang and, you know, left the Daily Wire with a bang, okay? But all just to do episodes about NASA being fake and gay and Brigitte Macron being a man, allegedly.
You just weren't alive for the original ones, and you need to learn the history of NASA, of the Apollo programs, which were occult and satanic. It was literally meant to be an antichrist movement to make people believe in man.
Okay, well, I don't agree with Candace Owens, but I am going to defend her. Okay?
Fact. I'm going to show you guys. It's like, you can look this up anywhere. Look up Jack Parsons and the Apollo program. They just wanted people to believe in scientific advancement. The guy who created the Apollo program was this guy, Jack Parsons. Can you pull up this clip, Skylar? You know, this is from a podcast, the Science History Institute Museum and Library. This is one of their podcasts. And
the sex cult antichrist who rocketed us to space, part 1. Right? It's like Candace...
You scroll down here,
Science
and you,
History
again,
Institute.
are probably going to have to make this bigger for my eyes, but at the top here, you know, Jack Parsons was a brilliant rocket scientist, but he lived a wild lifestyle with a devil-may-care attitude. He was pretty relaxed about safety and dabbled in drugs, occult practices, and sex cult rituals. It would all eventually catch up with him, though, and quite literally they were throwing these sex rituals, and he believed that he had summoned the devil, and the devil told him that he needed to create a moon child. Next thing you know, they're telling us we made it to the moon. I mean, you got to look into Jack Parsons.
Okay, but if you're going to tell the story, you need to tell it 100%, like how we got from A to B to C, okay? Because Right now, you're telling me about somebody who's obviously was on drugs and probably into some really sick and dark stuff. I wonder how many people like that are in the professional world, period. That doesn't make everything fake. Now, with that said, I don't think that NASA is necessarily what it's intended to be, nor do I care. Yeah, nor do I care. I don't have to care. That's the thing. Like, people will say, if somebody asked me after seeing the footage about going to the moon, do I think we went to the moon? No, I kind of don't, and I don't have to think that we did. I'm not going to die on that hill either. Right? There's other hills, way more important hills to die on. And she's sitting here, and she's like, oh, yeah, he believed in moon child, and the next thing you know, we were in the moon. That's something you say to your friends on a Tuesday, pizza night, something, I don't know. You can't, this was an episode? Like, okay, I think they get to the part where, because Matt Walsh did reply back to her. It makes her look weird. Like, it just does. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell.
The origin of NASA.
All right, so here's what I'm going to say. First, when Colin Wright says she's so open-minded her brain fell out, that's a funny joke. It is. Like, you're willing to believe anything, your brain flops out from an open mind, whatever. Here's the thing, man. The corporate press has lied to us about basically everything. So when I hear Candace say, my thoughts are based on these facts, I go, well, okay. From what I've read, I disagree, but I understand where she's coming from. A Catholic woman doesn't believe we went to outer space. Okay, whatever, I don't know. People believe a lot of things. And, I learned this very early on at a young age. A lot, like, there's faith in all things. These people who believe science is real are taking faith. Sorry, it's a fact. Now, let me explain to you. I get atheists all butthurt when I say this. Look, I've never looked through an electron microscope, and even if I did, I don't even know what I'm looking at. And so how do you know what they're saying is true? It's faith. Fact.
It's so funny how Tim Pool will back Candace up on this topic of what she's saying, which I get the point he's making. It is actually my point. There's a lot of theories that we run on. I get it. But when if you ask him about the Israel lobby, he says it's all like it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Qatar is making people talk about this. It's absolutely insane. He is allowing himself to have a mind bender here, which is fine. He can have it. But when we talk about things that now matter, right? Because we need to talk about what's going on in our government. Right now, I don't know if you guys see the headlines. This is the weekend. Israel is, no matter what Trump decides to go talk to Iran and possibly have, some sort of negotiations or whatever, Israel's still saying they're going to bomb Iran. You know what happens? We get dragged into that, right? I'm watching this closely. But that's not the topic of a conversation, or Tim Pool wouldn't even, entertain that, because he would say, well, no, they have a right to do whatever, whatever.
Yesterday, we discussed the supposedly historic trip into space taken by the all-female crew that it consisted of Katy Perry and Gail King and Jeff Bezos' girlfriend and a few others. The problem is that the crew was not really a crew. They were passengers taking a ride. They were in space for like 3 minutes. There was nothing historic or significant about it. And yet, as we talked about, the media celebrated it as this monumentally historic event because they were women who took the trip. Well, Gail King is now speaking out, and she is upset that more people are not celebrating her.
So this was in response to Gail King being upset about the little space ride that they took. And guess what? I don't understand. Okay. So Matt decided to do a show about it. We'll look at the response. But this was the part where Candace was saying that, while she agrees with him on Gail King, he has to say that the moon landing didn't happen. It's weird that she's even addressed him, Matt, who had nothing to say about your not just your departure, but your tossing out. What is the word? Exiting. There is a word. You're booting. They booted you out. It's weird to me that you're addressing him. He doesn't think. It's just really weird to me. A lot of this stuff is weird. Them guys had nothing to say for her defense. I'll just see a little bit, though, about this clip of the Gail King thing.
Her is a lot of celebration, but not enough And she thinks that those of you who are not falling at her feet to praise her achievement are sexist. Let's listen.
I don't like that people are calling it a ride. A ride, you never see a male astronaut who's going up in space and they said, oh, he took a ride. We actually duplicated the route that Alan Shepard did. That's why it's called, this particular capsule is called the New Shepard. We duplicated that route. No one said he took that ride. Yeah. It's always referred to as a flight or a journey. So I feel that that's a little disrespectful to what the mission was and what the work that Blue Origin does. We use space technology all the time, whether it's your GPS, whether it's your satellite. That doesn't just happen. Every time a flight goes up, they get some.
All these people getting on my nerves, but it was a ride. You didn't pilot the ship or whatever the thing is, the spacecraft. Okay, it was a ride.
Some of my friends that are just throwing shade.
Have y'all been to space? Have you been to? No, we haven't been to space, Gail, because we don't have a friend who's dating Jeff Bezos. Okay, we don't have a friend who's dating the guy who owns the rocket ship and the company that makes the rocket ship. So, no, we haven't been to space. So I appreciate the suggestion, though. She says, well, why don't you try going to...
Did he do a whole episode on it? Hold on. Is he
and that's really cool. It's not an achievement at this point. You didn't do anything, but it's a really cool thing to be able to experience. But they've taken this immense experience and they've turned it into something small and petty.
I think I'm at the point too where I don't want to say disappointed, but it is so like, but I made the episode, right? But I so I should be mad at myself, right? Because I just feel like, what are we talking about, to be honest? I really do. I don't know what's going on anymore, but I know that we have a lot of issues going on. I'm not saying every day somebody has to use their platform to talk about the issues. They don't. They can do whatever they want with it. I just hate this fake pretending of like Matt Walsh, like, come on, you got to agree with me. It's fake and gay. Let's just listen to the clip one more time.
Topic of NASA and moon landings because he thinks they happened. And listen, when the guys did it, it was fake and gay. I'm sorry, Matt, and it's time for you to admit it. It was just as bad. You just weren't alive for it, okay? Homies were on the moon making phone calls before the time of cell phones, like, hey, what's up, Prez?
Oh, she took a feminist route with this. You see what happens after a while? I keep watching this stuff, and then I'm, because this is not important to me, but, it's like, hey, whatever. Like, let's just watch some chum. Shout out to her. She has a huge platform. Nobody's coming at her platform. I'm just saying. She took a feminist, but she was coming at him because really of what he was saying about the girls, in their ride or whatever to space, which he had every right to say. But she's saying, oh, when the boys did it, it wasn't that great, too, and that's why you need to say it's fake and gay. Are you serious? She's a covert, like, don't sleep on her. Like, what she did with, I forgot who that rapper was, and they knew good and well that rapper did not, so-called assault Megan Thee Stallion in that limousine. That man is in jail. Matter of fact, hold on, let's just look it up. This is the pop culture hour, but yeah, I think Lanez, that was his name, poor Tory Lanez. Free Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez did not, I covered this too on my, on my channel, Free Tory Lanez. He did not do what they said he did. Allegedly, in my opinion. I went through I remember going through, like, looking at the wound, everything. I was like, that man did not do that, Free Tory Lanez. But yeah, Candace Owens, she was like, he needs to be in jail, this, that, and the third. Like, she goes straight that route without thinking. So that's why this whole thing was going on between her and Matt Walsh. Guys, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.